guys, welcome back to Liquid Art. Today we're going to be working on this painting here. It's kind of a beachy sunset painting, lots of pastel colours, all in acrylic and all designed for beginners. So I really hope you guys enjoy this and we'd love to see what you've created afterwards. So here's everything you're going to need for today. We've got our canvas board here in the middle. You can of course use paper or a canvas if you want. Some masking tape, and then we've got two paintbrushes. I've got a medium paintbrush and a small paintbrush. Some kitchen towel, a pot of water to clean our brushes, and then on our palette I've covered it in cling film for easy cleaning, and I've got the acrylic colours black, white, yellow, pink, a little bit of red, I didn't use very much, and some sky blue. So for our first step we're going to take some of our tape. I've got masking tape, this is blue masking tape just so you guys can see this better, but we're going to bring it quite far down our canvas. You want a bigger section at the top of the canvas and a smaller one at the bottom. This is just going to create our sea horizon line. So for our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to start painting, but we're going to take our medium paintbrush, make sure it's nice and clean, mine wasn't, give it a good wash and then dab off that excess water. Take a little bit of white here, we're going to make 3 kind of spots here on our palette. Now what we're going to do for this first is we're going to make some pastel-like colours. So we're going to mix these colours in with our white, but we want this white there first. So first one, I'm going to take some yellow into it and some red and mix it together. This is going to make quite a like peachy orange colour. So we're just going to mix this here. And then a little bit more white into it as well. We're just making it a little bit more pastel-y. And then we're going to wash our brush and go on to the next colour. So we're going to go on to that second kind of little patch of white that we put on our palette. And this time I'm going to take some pink and just mix it in here. And then again, give it a really good wash with this paintbrush. And then for the next one, we're going to take a little bit of red and some blue, and we're going to mix it together. We're going to do it away from this white and then slowly work it in. This is going to be our purpley colour. I wanted to change it a little bit, so I've added a little bit of pink into it as well. You guys can do this however you like. I just wanted a really nice purple colour. Good, so now we've added a few different colours to our palette. I'm also going to do another purple up here. So I've taken some blue and some red and mixing it together, and then I'm testing it out with the pink. So you guys will have different tones of paint. You just want to see which colour you prefer the best. So I really like this last one that I made. I thought that looked the nicest. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take that colour and I'm just going to paint it across here. Now just be careful when you're painting on top of your masking tape that you don't paint into the masking tape, otherwise it will go underneath and it will not be a straight line. So we're just going to paint this section up here. So I'm just doing this tiny little corner and then just this little bit in the middle and then around where our tape is. And once you've done that, I want you to give your paintbrush a really good wash, and then I'm going to add some white straight on top of it. So just by the edges, just adding that little bit of white, and all I'm going to do is brush backwards and forwards, and it's just going to mix the two colours together. If you find that they're not blending very well, you might need to wash your paintbrush, give it a good dry, a little bit of a wet, and then it will blend for you. But I found that this technique just really worked, just brushing backwards and forwards. So basically what we're doing here is we're trying to blend these gorgeous colours into a bit more of a white. So we're just doing this by the edges. This is going to make it easier for when we put another colour on top and we want it to move into a different colour. If we've got that white bit, kind of buffers it a little bit and it saves the colours mixing together so much. So when you guys are ready, give your paintbrush a really good wash. We're going to go on to the next little bit. So now we're going to take that pinky colour that we made in the middle and we're just going to paint over the top of that white bit that we just done. So we're just pushing it right up between these two purple sections here. We're going to go above to start with as well. So it's kind of like if you think of the letter Y, like laying down, this is going to be that kind of shape that we're making with this pink here. And again, look, I'm just doing like really long brush strokes and it's making it blend together. If you find that yours isn't blending, you might not be doing it fast enough and it might be drying too much. So you just need to add a tiny bit of clean water and it will help it blend for you. So now for the next bit, we're going to start making a bit of an orangey colour. So I've taken some red and some yellow and I'm mixing it together here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pink into it as well, and a little bit of white. So it's like a peachy pink colour to start with. And we're just going to blend it into that pink section that we just did. So bringing it right up to the edge, and then we're going to rub backwards and forwards and it's going to blend it for us. We're going to bring it to the edge of this purple bit here as well. And then give that paintbrush a really good wash for me. And with that clean brush, you're just rubbing backwards and forwards between this kind of pink, peachy colour that we just put on and that purple section, and it's going to blend it for us. Now I'm taking that kind of yellowy colour that we made earlier, and I'm just brushing it across the middle of this peach bit here. Again, you just want it to blend in, so just rub these two colours together. So once you guys have done this bit, don't worry about it too much. Remember, this isn't the main focus of this painting, so don't worry about it and it will dry really nice. So I'm just taking a little bit of that yellowy peachy colour and I'm just going to put a tiny bit down here on that white bit we did earlier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that colour just to roughly mark out where our shoreline is going to be. So I've just done that little diagonal line across here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off our tape. So now it's left that really nice straight horizon line. And I'm just going to do a few little marks into my sky up here. Now I'm just taking a little bit of pink and I'm brushing it between the purpley colour and the more orangey colour here. This is just to give it a little bit more of a kind of, I want it to blend a little bit better. I want it to look like it's the same bit of sky rather than making it look too different. So I'm just adding a bit more pink in. And the paint should be still wet on our canvas, so it should blend quite nicely. If it's not, again, you just add a little bit of water. If you find that it's running too much, you just want to take off a little bit by using your kitchen towel. I'm now just taking a little bit of a pink line across that horizon line here. And then we're going to add a little bit down here into our shore. So when I do the sea, we're now going to take the sky blue and I want you to try and do like horizontal lines. And we're going to make them quite fluid. I want you to kind of imagine you're kind of scribbling with the paint. So just doing a few blue bits around here. Then I'm going to do the same with the purple. Try not to overdo this, okay? We're going to keep the purpley blue colours more towards where it's off in the horizon and, you know, it's kind of like the deeper water, if you will. And then I've just softened this colour just a tiny bit and I'm just doing it around here. Now, good wash with that paintbrush. I'm taking a little bit of white this time I'm just brushing it into these colours, just nice and gently. Again, I'm using that same movement of a kind of a scribble, going nice and horizontally. So I want the lighter colours down here. So now I'm going back to my orangey colour, and we're just going to add it gently, and just be really careful that you don't meet the blue too much with this, otherwise it will make more of a brownie colour than anything. So just be really careful. Just a few little bits around here. We are going to cover this bit up a little bit in a second with some white, so don't panic too much. So I'm now adding a little bit of pink into that colour, and it's made like a kind of a burnt purple, kind of went on a little bit, and then it went a bit peachy, which is brilliant, and that's what we wanted. Just dabbing a few little bits along here, and then later on we're going to put like the seahorse colour over the top of that. So now this has made a bit of a sandy colour, so it's quite orangey, and you can add a little bit of white into this as well, and you're just going to paint the sand colour here. So that was that orangey yellow colour that we used earlier with a little bit of white, and you're just going to fill this area out. And we're going to build into this later to give it a little bit of texture, a little bit of depth, and kind of it's going to show the shadows of where our palm trees are as well. So now we're just blending this slightly into our sea that we've already made. So you just go rub it backwards and forwards just a tiny bit, but don't worry about it too much as we're going to cover it up later on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small paintbrush, giving it a little bit of a wash, and I'm just taking some white here, and we're just painting over the top of what we just did. So again, we're doing that kind of jagged motion, and what's to do with this bit is you want kind of a big blob of white paint on your brush, and then just move it backwards and forwards, and it's going to create a really nice wave effect for us. So now we're going to take a little bit of purple down here as well, and this is going to be kind of where the water meets the sand, so the kind of the real shoreline. So we're just going to jagger it backwards and forwards along here. And then in a second we're going to go back to that white bit. So now we're going to go over with that white again. And the reason we're doing it straight on top is so that we've got a few lighter purples going on, and then we're just going to build up with that white. So again, you kind of take one big bit, and then I want you to brush it out towards the sea. And that's going to create this really nice wave effect for us. So a few white bits and then brush it towards the sea. So this is just slowly building up our white horses. Try not to make this go really, really white, but you've covered up all the colours. Try not to do that bit, but you just want to get these bits going so that they're quite strong and out there. They kind of catch your eye in this painting. Big blob of white, and then just brush it towards the sea, and this will create our, try not to work it in too much, otherwise it'll blend it too far, but this is what is going to make our white horses. Good, this is coming together quite nicely. So I'm just going over that orange bit up here just because I didn't like it very much, and just covering up a tiny bit as well. You can of course add some white into that orange bit at the top. I think that would be quite nice. You don't have to if you don't want to. So now for our next bit, what we're going to do is we're going to take some blue and some yellow and some black and mix it together, and it's going to make a dark green. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to dot up where this it's kind of a bush shape for the bottom of our palm trees. So we're just covering up this section that I didn't really paint here. I'm just using this end of the paintbrush to kind of create some leaf shapes. So you can kind of dot it in and out around our sky so that we can have parts of the sky seen through as well. So if you've got a really white bit, I wouldn't do that bit, but if you've got a kind of a bit of the purple showing and you want to kind of have it seen through the leaves or something like that, this is the time to do that. So if you want to brighten it up, I'm just using a little bit of yellow, and it just mixes with the paint that you're already using, just to make a few lighter bits if you want to. You could even do a tiny bit of white as well. It will make kind of a light green, which is just a lighter one rather than a more yellow one. I'm just going to keep dotting, and then we're going to use a bit of a darker green, grey and a black in a minute. So I'm bringing this right to the edge of our canvas board. Nice, so this created our kind of bush effect over here. I'm now going to use a little bit of black and some white here, and this is going to make it a little bit of a grey colour. And now we're going to paint our first palm tree. So we're just going to bring this nice long stem out into our sky. You can of course draw this if you want first. And then to do our palm tree, we're going to make kind of like, if you think of the prongs of an umbrella, that's what we're going to create with the top of our palm tree. So you're going to do these kind of circular lines around it, and then we're going to fill them out in a second. So I've kind of filled these two out as I've gone round. And you just want to make sure the leaves are kind of facing down. So I'm just bringing a few other lines off of each of our palm leaf stems. So do one line first, and then you bring a few off of that. So yeah, so we've got a nice silhouette of our palm tree. The idea for it being a silhouette is that the sunlight is away from us and it's facing towards us. So this is why it's our silhouette thing, and it's a lot more forgiving. So now we're going on to the next palm tree. I'm going to do it at a slightly different angle this time. And again, I'm going to start doing these palm trees' leaves. So bring them down just a little bit and kind of feather them out. Looks like I've just cut my palm tree in half here. But you're just going to keep feathering them out, and just make sure each of the palm tree leaves are coming from one point in the center. Lovely, guys. So I'm going to do just one more palm tree now. I'm going to make this one a little bit more grey just because it's bigger. So I've used a little bit more of a grey this time, and I want it a tiny bit thicker as well. And then I'm going to use a black line kind of towards the bottom of where kind of the bush would be, and this is going to make a little bit of a shadow. It's going to give this palm tree a little bit more depth. So I've just done that down the line of the trunk of that palm tree. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start doing our leaves of this palm tree as well. So I want these to be a little bit bigger because the palm tree is a lot bigger for this one, and you'll just bring in the leaves off the top of that. Nice, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our sand again just a little bit. So I've just taken some of our light colour, so it's that a bit of yellow, a little bit of red, a little bit of white. And I'm just mixing that with the blue just a tiny bit here, just to make it a little bit cooler in colour. And I'm just adding a tiny bit of red as well, just because I want to make it a little bit more purpley. So we don't want to go too far with this, but we just want a different shade of colour in the sand. So this is so contrast at the moment, so what we're doing is making a little bit of a shadow down here, using that purpley colour. Remember, our shoreline is a purple colour as well, so it's not too bad. Just doing a few little bits down here. And then give your paintbrush a really good wash. Take a little bit of black into that now as well. And where it's closer to these bushes, you just want to add a little bit of black going along. And then all I'm doing is I'm taking my medium brush now, and I'm just using kind of that same technique that we did with the water. We want horizontal lines, just kind of scribbling them just a little bit along our sand. Now I've added a little bit of red here. You don't have to if you don't want to. I added a little bit too much, which is why I've gone back in with the sand colour that we made earlier. I'm just taking that off just a little bit. So if you're happy with the bit that you've created, you just might want to make the kind of shadow and the sand blend a little bit more. You just need to do a clean brush with a little bit of water and then rub it together, and it'll sort that out for you. And then we're just going to dab a few little bits around here. I'm dabbing some white on top as well, just to give this sand a little bit of texture. So yeah. And then once we've done that, guys, we're pretty much done. But if you want to change a few little bits, you can do if you want to. If you want to make the shadow a bit bigger, anything like that, you can do. But other than that, guys, other than just dabbing onto the sand a little bit much more, we are done. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this painting. We'd love to see how you did, and please, 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 can you share and like this video? That we'd really appreciate it. And if you have something you'd like us to paint next time, please put it in the link below, give us an idea of what you want to see next, and we'll paint it for you. So thank you guys so much, we'll see you all next time, and happy painting!